YouTube mostly folks, what it is deadlift day. Got a tweak currently in my biceps femoris portion of the hamstring that only impacts the insertion at the knee. So the only thing that it affects are hamstring curls, jumping, accelerating and slowing down on explosive running on the floor. So I have to modify my program a little bit. It doesn't really hurt at all when I squat. It doesn't really hurt at all when I deadlift. So that means my gains are moving along at the same speed. I'm just going to have to cut back, not do any of the jumping. Normally I do dumbbell step-ups on this day in my program, but right now I'm skipping those because they are a little... right now I do need a little extra recovery of my hamstring. Just because portions of my hamstring are not affected by it, but other portions are... it's one side of the biceps femoris that's tweaked. So just because that one side of it is not being activated and the other side is, doesn't mean that I'm not necessarily slowing down the pace of recovery. So to try and here's my heavy set for the day. This was 240 for 16, which was actually pretty buck wild metabolically. I didn't really feel that's not the kind of thing where I don't feel deadlifts in my hamstring, the low part of my hamstring at all. I think you have to have deeper knee flexion to really get that to engage in a way that aggravates this particular tweak. But I was making a mental note to be careful on that set. I just never felt anything. It just feels so good to deadlift right now. I just don't feel anything wrong. So I just went until I ran out of breath, basically. That's kind of what I think. What actually my heart and lungs are kind of what need to get a little bit stronger to give me more reps when I'm doing a heavy weight for a lot of reps. 240 for 16 was a scenario that thinking about how much blood pressure elevation is going on there, how much my heart and lungs are working, how much of a cardiovascular activity that is. I mean, you know how when you do deadlifts, you kind of, for reps, you kind of are sucking for air after that a little bit if it's a good set, and that was just the length of time. I often feel like I have to get a double breath at top when I get towards the higher rep schemes. When I'm rep 13, I feel like I have to suck more air because the amount of air I've been just normally reaching for by just taking a quick breath has not been doing it all of a sudden. Maybe I've been running out, or maybe I'm using some of that air for core bracing or some other function other than just breathing it. But for whatever reason, my body starts really wanting to suck air hard, and I get to a point where I feel like I'm getting a little bit lightheaded, I might suffocate. I'm not, you know how you can draw air. People who've had collapsed lungs, they can draw in air and actually be running out of oxygen at the same time. People, I've had the experience, if you're not acclimated to elevations, if I played a concert with my band, and I sing pretty much continuously, and I don't really leave very many breaks of instrumentation where I'm not singing. So in some songs, if I'm moving around and singing at the same time, I have to be really careful. I basically have a pattern of breathing that I've learned that works with that song and with those movements. And if I don't breathe perfectly, I'm going to start running out of air. That's sort of normally the way it works. But when I would be in a place like Denver, Colorado, playing a show on tour where I'm not acclimated, I'm only there for one day, I don't have any way to acclimate, there would be times where I would be singing my song and I'm taking my breaths at my normal time and still suffocating, where I'm okay, I'm coming in an oxygen deficit with the way that I'm breathing right now. I'm not getting enough air. So I feel kind of that's sort of what, when I'm doing deadlifts that are semi-heavy for a whole lot of reps, and I'm trying to really push the reps. I don't know if there's even a point to get more than 16 reps on a deadlift set that's fairly heavy. It could be more injury risk than it's worth. But at the same time, if you're really able to easily do it, what's the harm? But yeah, that is the one thing, to push it past that, I really feel like it starts to get rough in terms of my just breathing. That whole aspect of it. So I threw the step-ups out. I just did some leg extensions. Basically, that portion of the knee is just not tweaking at all, like it's totally fine. I think maybe the depth jumps I've been doing combined with a lot of basketball. The tweak is only my right leg biceps femoris, so I think what pushes it over the brink. The only time I use my right leg by itself is like when I'm playing basketball in a game. I'm probably more likely to come off my right foot more explosively than I am my left, just because it's more likely that I would drive to the right or be moving to the right explosively than to the left. Although I do go to the left quite a bit. Like I try to actually, because I have to limit my volume of training on basketball shots, I actually therefore train my left side a lot entirely. Like I'll do left-handed only days and left-hand layup days because my right arm will be worn out, just from too much shooting with it. So that just to prevent an imbalance, I'll start using my left hand and try to do layups and all this. So like, just the fact that the biceps femoris tweak is taking place on my right leg leads me to believe it's like probably from a game I was playing. I probably just sort of landed funny off of a rebound or drove really hard, and then because it only really kicks on if I'm accelerating, decelerating, or landing a jump. Is really the only times I feel it. Hamstring curls, though, man, they really put a weird pressure on that part of it, and it just feels super injurious. Like, immediately, I'm like, can't do this, which is strange that I can deadlift just fine, but I guess it just doesn't go far enough down into the leg to, I don't know, to maybe just you don't get enough knee flexion for that part to get any tension pulling against the muscle or the bone. It's hard to know, but I feel confident this tweak will heal quick. It's already kind of like feeling a lot better just after changing my programming and cutting back on a couple of things that felt dicey for it. And it is what it is. Like, comment, and subscribe. I sure do appreciate all your time.